RFK Jr. and Paul Saladino claim seed oils are poison, grass-fed beef is essential, and you should only cook with beef tallow. So today, I'm putting those claims through a 3-step reality check to see if they're worth your attention or if they're just distractions. Here's how it works. We'll look at each claim through 3 lenses. The big picture, where does it rank in what actually matters for your health? The science, what's the evidence pyramid and overall consensus say? And finally, a gut check, just observations and common sense. Now let's kick it off with the most controversial one, seed oils. These guys call seed oils toxic, inflammatory, even call them engine oil. Bold claims, but let's put them through a reality check. First, take a step back, let's consider the big picture. We know the real levers for health and longevity are nutrition, physical activity, sleep, limiting alcohol, managing stress, and not smoking. Together, these help us avoid or delay preventable diseases. Now, today we're spending all our time in nutrition, so definitely do not skip this next part. The most important part of nutrition is energy balance, which means stay within your calorie needs. But with what foods? Well,
all of the guidelines to prevent cancer, to prevent diabetes, to prevent cardiovascular disease, all of the recommendations for nutrition are similar because the science is similar. So eating
more whole foods and vegetables, less refined grain and added sugar. I don't know anyone who disagrees with that. Even keto and low-fat vegan agrees with that. I can't think of any more polar opposites than those two.
So it really all boils down to this. Eat whole or minimally processed foods, make diverse choices. That's going to get you plenty of fiber. And then you want to limit your saturated fats, added sugar, and sodium. Okay, now that's our North Star we're going to keep coming back to. So what does the science say about seed oils? Well, I synthesized info from tons of the leading voices in this space, so you don't have to. And here it is. Most of the scary claims about seed oils come from mechanistic or animal studies. And then there's some cherry-picked stuff elsewhere. But the best human evidence, the meta-analyses and the human randomized control trials, well, those consistently show seed oils do not raise systematic inflammation in humans. Swapping saturated fats for unsaturated fats lowers heart disease risk, and deep frying, regardless of the oil or fat type, can form harmful compounds. So now we have to take a step back and just do a little gut check on this. In the real world, my fight is saying no to pizza, cheeseburgers, cheese curds, ice cream, not a granola bar with some canola oil in it. And when I think about living longer, first, I know the 80, 90-year-olds, they probably just had good genes. But of the ones I've met, I've never heard one of them say you gotta avoid the seed oils. This just isn't passing the gut check for me. So I'm calling it a distraction. Now, if you think I got this backwards, light up the comment section. I wanna hear it. Okay, but next up, we're talking about grass-fed beef. All right, these guys argue that grass-fed beef is way better. It's more nutritious, it's less inflammatory, maybe even essential. Pretty sure Paul says that he eats it every single day. But let's take a step back here and remember the big picture. Okay, first off, I don't care what type of beef you buy. If you buy it whole at the store, that is way better than eating Pizza Hut. So it's important to level set there. Second, it can absolutely be part of a diverse diet. So there's no agenda against beef. But before you get carried away, remember this. The guidelines stress limiting saturated fat intake. Grass-fed beef, grain-fed beef, unless it's extremely lean, beef definitely has saturated fat. So keep that in mind, that's our North Star, but how does the science hold up? Animal and compositional studies do show grass-fed cattle have slightly better fatty acid profiles, so more omega-3, and they do have more phytonutrients. So we have evidence for a healthier cow, more nutritious meat. But just remember that's not evidence for human consumption. Okay? When we look at the best human evidence, it still links higher doses of red meat to higher risk of cardiovascular disease and mortality. Swapping red meat for fish, nuts, legumes improves health outcomes, and overall dietary pattern and calorie balance still matters far more than a particular type of beef. Now let's take a step back, do a little gut check. Guys, one serving of salmon has more omega-3 than a month supply of grass-fed burger patties. That is no joke. That premium grass-fed beef you got a little extra omega-3 from, Probably cost you a few extra bucks too. I think it's majoring in the minors. It's like stressing about the most ergonomic chair when the real health benefits would come from less sitting. And honestly, if I'm eating a cheeseburger, I'm not pretending it's a health food. So I'm sorry, but this is another distraction. Now, Steak and Shake bought into the hype of this next one, so don't even think about leaving. Next up, we're talking about beef tallow. These guys love beef tallow. They call it natural, stable. It's the ultimate cooking fat. And yeah, you heard me.
And Steak and Shake just switched out. And people are raving about these French fries. You taste them.
They're amazing.
So what's the deal? Is this a health win? Well, let's take a step back. Remember the big picture. We want whole foods and we want to limit saturated fats. Right now, let's jump right into the science, which honestly is the weakest of all three. There's some mechanistic data, and then there's some marketing narratives, okay? Yes, tallow is more stable at high heat than seed oils, but remember, stability is not a proven human health benefit. And the best available human evidence shows that plant oils improve cholesterol and heart outcomes. And also, reusing deep frying oil, no matter the type, poses risks. And the guidelines recommend keeping saturated fats to less than 10% of daily calories. So we're gonna take a step back now, do another gut check. Do you really think eating a big bag of greasy, fatty tallow fries is now magically healthier? Or that all of the calories that come from the saturated fat fries is now better than the French fries with no saturated fat? It just doesn't make sense to me. And even if you say it's more natural, it still just doesn't add up, because the whole point is you want to stay away from those unnecessary calories. You want to stay away from the deep fried foods. So again, this just seems like an overhyped distraction. All right, here's the bottom line. Seed oils, grass-fed beef, beef tallow, all three sound controversial. They grab attention, they spark arguments online, but the science at this point says they're distractions. They just do not move the needle for our health. So keep your attention on what matters for your health. Don't sweat the small stuff. Now, I'm dying to hear from you though. Do you think influencers like RFK Jr. and Paul Saladino, do you think they're helping or harming the health conversation? Do they have the right intentions? Or are they just selling distractions? Tell me in the comments. I want to hear what you have to say. And if you're still struggling with losing weight, check out my last video. Thank you guys. Catch you in the next one.